How's it going, guys? Damocles here, and today I'm going to need you to take everything that you know about overheat, ash blast, bottom tree pyromancers, and throw it right in the garbage because we are leaving it all behind. If you are running bottom tree on your late game Acari builds, you are in the past, my friend, and I am going to catch you up in this video. This video, we're going to be covering my new Endgame Pyromancer build. This is straight for speed running. We're going like full damage, all out, insane glass cannon pyromancer build, and you guys are going to love it. This is what I used to get the console world record on Chem Plant, and it's going to be sick. So as always, if you like it, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your opinions on the build. Again, this is not a budget build. This is the opposite of a budget build. This is like insanely mod intensive. So let's just hop right into it. Okay, so what's different about this build than my previous build, and you can check that build out right below. The other build is probably more survivable and consistent in terms of clearing in a super fast way, while still having a lot of health and tankiness. This build is, we are going all out for speed running. We're risking it for the biscuit. And so if you're not a fan of how this build works, then you can definitely give the other build a shot in the description below. So what are the differences between my old build and this build? Well, let's look at the skill tree first. Skill tree looking a little bit weird. Traditionally, the overheat ash blast builds, you are going all bottom tree, right, for the explosive, amplifiers and everything like that. But as I've said in a couple of my other videos, some of the explosive modifiers are not that great. And really, the only way that you can improve on one of those old overheat ash blast builds is trying to find a way to reduce ash blast's cooldown. And that is what we're doing here. So, just looking at it real briefly, Heat Wave, Ash Blast, Overheat. You can see the cooldowns are all fairly low, especially Ash Blast. In my previous build, I think Ash Blast probably had like a 19-second cooldown. 11 seconds is a lot more manageable, guys. It's a lot more Ash Blast going off, and you'll see why this matters. So we go top tree, we pick up increased weapon damage, which obviously we don't want, but we get reduced immobilized skill cooldowns. We get more weapon damage, but that doesn't matter. Trial of Ash is enemies afflicted with Ash receive 10% more damage. That's obviously huge because we're Ash blasting everything. Mark of the Anomaly doesn't matter. Hot Situation, activating your immobilized skill increases your anomaly power by 45% for 10 seconds. So every time we Ash blast, you can best be sure we're going to be nuking everything. Resistance piercing increase, always nice to have. These extra weapon mods, weapon damage modifiers don't really matter, but we're picking up every time Ash is afflicted. Vulnerable status is inflicted as well, so we're going to be getting that increased 15% damage whenever we Ash a target, which is huge too. Decreased reload, doesn't matter. Hurt twice as long, increase our damage to elites. Again, the weakness traditionally of Ash Blast Overheat builds is the damage to elites. You can clear out a whole room, but your damage to elites, it takes a little bit longer. That's what kind of weighs you down. But with this build, we're trying to shore up on those weaknesses. And so we're increasing our damage dealt to elites. Enemies afflicted with Ash receive 15% more damage. That's in addition to this. So now we're doing 25% more damage to Ash targets, plus they're vulnerable. And we're reducing our immobilized skill cooldown by another 15%, so 30%. Then what we do is we come down here, we take this anomaly node, we increase our skill damage by 8% against marked enemies. That means if they were hit with a heat wave, or they were hit with an ash blast, or any of our abilities, or even a melee. So that's an 8% damage increase. We're going to pick up additional anomaly power, so we're getting 12% additional anomaly power down here. Getting another 5% with this, and we're reducing our cooldowns further by 10%. And what are you really missing out on? You're honestly not missing out on that much. A lot of the stuff down here is kind of superfluous with a lot of skill leech and everything, and the modifiers in terms of anomaly power are not that great. So again, guys, I can't stress this enough. In terms of speed and like clearing as fast as humanly possible, bottom tree builds are in the dust now. Like straight up, if you see a bottom tree build, it's outdated. As far as speed is concerned. Now, if you want to have a little bit more tankiness and survival, you can go down here and do my old overheat build, or you could go and try and like go mid-tree to pick up this wildfire this way. But I like having more damage, especially in this patch where your defense really doesn't exist because things randomly one-shot you. I'm taking the route of going full damage as much as humanly possible, kill everything before it kills you type of deal. And so that's why I'm running this build right now. So obviously, Death Shield, Shadow Comet. I'm a huge Shadow Comet fan. I don't have another Funeral Pyre. I might be running that, but I'm actually really liking Moaning Winds a lot more now. If you're on PC, you can get much faster clear times than I can because you can cycle through Moaning Winds a lot more, but for console it's a little rough. But regardless, you want to have Fortress on all your gear because Fortress is going to give you a massive anomaly damage boost, so you want that. Moaning Winds is a huge damage nuke, and because we're playing vulnerable and we're getting a bunch of damage to Ash targets, when we go and we pop a Moaning Winds, or when we go and we pop a Shadow Comet, it's going to be doing insane damage numbers to elites. Like insane. So whereas in the previous build, it might take me like 4 different cycles to kill like a Broodmother or to kill an elite. With this build, if I Ash Blast an elite, it's going to die in like basically 1 cycle of Moaning Winds or a Shadow Comet. And in case of the Broodmother, at the end of Chem Plant, it takes me like 2. Obviously, Helmet of the Acari, Chest Piece of the Acari, Waist Cloth of the Acari. You guys know me. I am not a fan of going the boots, Acari boots at the bottom. I don't want max health on anything. It just grosses me out. So we're taking the 3-piece Acari on top, and I'm taking Death Sentence, which makes it so when we Ash Blast, it increases the anomaly damage that people take by 30% for 5 seconds. And so this is obviously huge. So when we Ash Blast, we're increasing enemies affected by the skill or increase it respectively by 30%. We don't care about the weapon damage, but because we're running Master Consumer, it's going to increase our damage even further, and everything's vulnerable, and we have so many amplifiers. That's why this top tree is like the go-to, right? Next, we take Tidal Wave. This is nothing new. Again, this is a super mod intensive build, so you're gonna need to have these tier 3s. Anomaly Echo, I go with Burnt Out. Burnt Out is like one of the best tier 1 mods in the game. You need this. That's an additional 50% damage taken from targets you hit with 2 heat waves, which is obviously insane, especially with elites. Now, this is where the build kind of switches up a little bit, right? We go Master Consumer, which makes it so if something is ashed and burning and we pop Overheat on it, it's going to consume both and do 150% more damage, and then that is just on top of all the other modifiers that we have. But we pick up Captain Hunter. We have 0 defensive mods, guys. 0. And this is why I'm saying, like, this is a risky build. Like, we have 0 defensive mods. I've said this a billion times, even in this video, but the weakness of these Overheat builds is the damage to elites. And by forsaking all damage mods and going with Captain Hunter, our damage to elites is significantly increased. And so the basic way that you're going to be going and playing this build, actually, hold on, let me just talk about Untamed Power real quick. I have to do it. Untamed Power is insane. Anybody that tells you it's not insane is insane themselves. It's so good. Every single time we pop any ability, we are going to be dealing 43k anomaly damage around us. And when we pop all of our skills, like Ash Blast to get that anomaly power increase, or when we hit something with Heat Wave and the Acari, this number is going to skyrocket because it's based off 30% of your anomaly power. Can't overstate enough how good this is. And it's modified by Vulnerable and all of the other bonuses that we get, as well all of our damage amplification bonuses. So your Untamed Power is going to be hitting like a truck. So when you go up to those elites, make sure you're kind of getting in close so you can take advantage of the extra amount of damage that you're dealing. That combined with Captain Hunter, you're going to be nuking bosses with this ad clearing build. And so this is the general skill setup. This is the general mod setup. I also have Moaning Winds on my pistol. Now I can't get Fortress and Moaning Winds on my pistol. But basically what I'm doing is I'm going and the general playstyle, and you'll see it from the gameplay in a couple seconds at the end of the video. But basically before a run starts, I'm going to go and I'm going to empty all of my ammo in my Anemoy and in my pistol, right? And that way, when I am on my Jesus, why can't I remember? Death Shield, right? I can go, I have Fortress, I can pop Shadow Comet on something, but then if I run up to a boss, I can go Heat Wave twice, Ash Blast, Overheat, but I can swap, and that's going to do Moaning Winds, and that's going to do Moaning Winds, and both of those Moaning Winds are going to do a massive amount of boss damage, a massive amount, especially when you consider how much damage you're going to be getting from Ash Blast and all of your other modifiers. Now, there are a couple of combos to be aware of. Like you want to go and like try to use like some of these things before Ash gets like taken off of targets, if that makes sense, right? So like Ash Blast, the duration of Ash is going to be changed by your status power, but you don't want to let Ash drop off a target. You kind of want to keep it on as long as possible so you can get that damage amplification, but you want to make sure that that you consume it with overheat, because that's going to be the brunt of your damage. So you go and you pop Ash Blast, and you want to be able to go and cycle through all of your actual main damage like mods before you go and pop overheat and get rid of them, if that makes sense. So you're going to be able to see that in the in the run that I show you in a couple seconds, which is my fastest Chem Plant run yet. And potential modifications to this build, you could go and run like Funeral Pyre here and run double Shadow Comet instead of Moaning Wind. If you're on PC, you're going to be able to cycle through Moaning Wind so much faster than me, which is really going to give you those much faster clear times. If you're new to Acari builds, when you hit enemies with Heat Wave, you're going to basically get like an additional like 400, 500,000 anomaly power, and so everything is going to get buffed. I think the bonus caps out at 6 people, so if you can hit multiple people with it, you're gonna see in the run I hit like a very specific amount of people with my Heat Wave so that I can clear ads as fast as humanly possible. But that's going to be basically it for the build summary in general. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Our Heat Wave and our Overheat cooldowns are super low, and our Ash Blast cooldown is basically chopped in half in comparison to the other build. Plus, we're getting a bunch of additional damage modifiers for this build, and because of all of our mods and the Acari bonuses and stuff, we don't really need to go into this bottom tree. We just need to Ash Blast more, and we need to have those extra damage amplifiers. So you'll see that, especially if you compare it to my old Overheat build and the speeds I was getting with that build, if you just look at the boss damage, because it's kind of hard to tell from the ad clear, if you just look at the boss damage itself, you'll see a significant change, and that is really, that is what makes the biggest difference. So right now, I'm going for the riskiest possible builds to try and go as fast as possible. But if you guys aren't, happy with your survivability in this build, go and try the old Overheat build that still clears super fast, or go and do the budget build and toss on some Acari pieces onto the budget build. That clears CT15s super easily as well. So that's going to be it for me, guys. Please, if you like this, like, comment, subscribe. Again, I'm on Xbox, so if you need any help, feel free to message me on Xbox. Feel free to join my Xbox club. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Damocles, where I'm streaming this all the time and a bunch of other games. And, always like, comment, subscribe. Really helps me out with the algorithm. I love all the support I'm getting from you guys. And please let me know if there's anything else that you guys want to see. I want to cover some My Hero. I want to cover some Biomutant. I want to cover a bunch of stuff for you guys. And I just want to make content that is going to be helpful for you guys in the future. I also have a budget anomaly Technomancer build that's coming out, which obviously not as good as a top tree build, but I made one just for the giggles. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. And that's going to be it for me. I might do a voiceover of the gameplay at the end of my actual speed run. I might not. I'm not 100% sure yet. So if I don't talk, then just watch the gameplay and ask me any questions in the comments, or ask me in stream. And if I do talk, then just listen. Love you guys. Thanks for all the support. Damocles out.
should lead to the heart of the facility.
All I'm missing is some elevator music. Whatever that thing is, that switch should disable it. Whoa. Shira, about those energy spikes? The insurgents had a functioning power cell down here.
What did you do with it?
It's disabled. I'll see if Zahidi can't take a look at it. Then I found a pawn down here.
You saved some lives today, Outrider. I would expect nothing less from you.
Oh.
Outrider detected. Access granted.